Back again for another video. Sorry I've been gone for a little while, but I got school and all, so I gotta take care of a few things. I got test quizzes and exams. That stuff will wreck your brain, man, but higher learning is important to me. But anyways, on today's topic, we'll be talking about femininity. How it exists. I'm sure you've heard me talk about these things many times, but at every turn of a circle in its true form, there are always points. For anyone who's a mathematician knows exactly what I'm talking about. That's the reason why affinity exists. But anyways, when it comes to femininity, a lot of women view it as something that that is expressed a lot of times. And it is very much expressed, but they put a lot of emphasis on expressing it in many situations. Not all situations, but many situations. And there are a lot of women who try to learn femininity. They try to learn it from other women. They try to mimic the attributes that it takes in order to be or present oneself as feminine, having certain mannerisms or responding in a certain way to conversations, situations, circumstances of men, etc. But I'm here to tell a story. Well, I guess not a story. I'm here to put some commentary on this a little bit further so we can get a better understanding, because I was actually reading something and it was in regards to how femininity is. There's a lot of guys out here, making the pandering videos about how women exist in regards to their femininity, and they make a lot of excuses for women to say that, well, it was a video that said something like, if a woman has to work, it prevents her from being in her feminine. I disagree. Wholly. Because that femininity isn't tied to one's external existence per se. The external existence can have an effect on one's femininity, but that's only if they allow it to. That's only in most times if it is immature femininity as well. It's no different than building a building out of stones and then replicating that same building out of wood. There's one that's going to have a stronger internal integrity, right? Because if you think about the composition of wood versus the composition of stone, how long did it take to make that stone, right? How long did it take for that stone to form into a stone versus how long did it take that wood to become wood, right? We're looking at two totally different, substances here that take two totally different time frames in order to become their most stable self. And that's no difference in regards to femininity. So yes, the external forces can have some effect on femininity, but only if it's made out of wood, if you catch my drift. When femininity is tested, a very strong femininity, just like a mountain. I live in Colorado. Colorado has some of the largest mountain chains in the United States. Okay. And it's been there for a long time. Been there for about 2 million years. Okay. And it hasn't moved. It's rained, it snowed. There was once an ocean here, where that mountain was. It's seen vegetation. It's seen, all types of calamities and, degradation, but it's still there. Now, granted, yes, it's a very large thing. But we have things that have lasted the test of time that are made out of stone from thousands of years ago that still exist now. Stonehenge, for example. That thing is still standing. You know, the pyramids, they're still standing. The composition is what dictates how long femininity can stand the test of time, no matter what the circumstances are. Now, again, I was watching this video of this guy, he was listing down rules on how to be more appealing to women. Pretty much that's what it boiled down to, because that's what his audience base is. They're eating it up. They love this kind of stuff. A man who is crafting himself to be the best man for a woman and nothing else better in his life. Women love that. But anyways, on one of his points, like I said, he said that a woman who has to work cannot be feminine. And like I said, I disagree. Given a run up on how I've explained this thus far, I think you should understand why I disagree. Now, I can't say fully, but I disagree about feminine, because everything else, I don't really consider it necessarily feminine. I mean, there are certain things about women that are definitely feminine. I mean, having breasts is feminine, having long hair is feminine, what other attributes can we go with here, right? There are certain things that are just naturally inherently so about women that represents femininity. But those are the superficial things. A person's hair can be cut off. A person can have a mastectomy, and then would that person still be feminine? Right? That's what I'm getting at here. It's a little bit deeper than the external factors that represent femininity in regards to what women exist as. Okay. What I'm talking about is the internal faculties in which femininity resides wholly. Partly it resides in a woman's physical appearance, but more wholly, and I don't mean holy as HOLY, but holy as in HWHOLE. LY. Did I spell it right? I don't know. I've been reading stuff all day. Don't mind me if I get things incorrect and far spelling. Jeez, my brain is kind of fried from school. But anyway, you get what I mean. Holy, as far as a woman being 100%, the internal faculties exist within her. But the problem is, a lot of men don't know what they're talking about. A lot of women don't know what they're talking about. And I think a lot of women don't know what they're talking about because they're taking cues from men on what they are accepting as femininity. That's the reason why we see this hyper acceptance of body modifications, because not only are the women competing against each other, but they're competing against each other for who looks the craziest. I don't know what you want to call it, but they're just over accentuating things that they consider to be feminine. If you notice, they're not making their fingers longer. They're not, making themselves taller. They're not, inserting six packs, because these are things that men have done surgically. Okay, by the way, they're not doing these things. They're overly enhancing the things that they are superficially tying to femininity. Okay, that's where they're competing at. But a lot of men think that look crazy, but there are some men who actually like it. Whether women are paying attention to this or not, I don't think they are, but that's neither here nor there. But there are other things in regards to a woman's physical appearance that they are enhancing in pursuit of a man. They're trying to be more soft-spoken. They're trying to be this and that, right? I'm not going to go into the long list, but that's not true femininity, because they're trying to become something. It's either you are or you aren't. Remember, I said I don't think there's a middle ground to these things. If you don't have that internal femininity, you are at a, what can I call it? It's called a purgatory. You're at a middle ground, and you will sway either way depending on what suits you better. as a woman. In my opinion, this is my opinion. This is how I observe it. Okay. You will swing towards masculine if that is advantageous for you to do. In that circumstance, you will swing towards feminine of the things that you learned about either feminine or masculine and try to become feminine if it's advantageous for what you're trying to accomplish. That's not true femininity. How do I know this for certain? Without being an actual woman, okay? I know this because I look at my own masculinity. There is not a day that I can remember that I didn't show up masculine. No matter what the circumstances were, no matter what I was going through, no matter how traumatizing whatever the circumstances were or was, no matter how tired I was, no matter what job I got, no matter what woman was in my life, no matter any circumstances, I still remain masculine. And this isn't defined by anyone's external definition of what masculinity is. This is what I know myself to be, regardless of anyone's definition of myself. This is confident speaking. Okay. I know what I am and I know what I have been. And I will continue to be that because every day I wake up in the same state, masculine. There is no circumstance in which I will turn myself into a swaying door. I won't choose a circumstance that's more advantageous for me in order for me to change or for me to change my setting to feminine versus masculine. I don't move that way. I'm forever masculine. I don't know any other state to be. I've been doing it for so long, I don't know anything else. This is how I know that femininity works the same way. For a woman that can turn off her femininity, she's not truly feminine. Because I can say the same thing about masculinity in myself. For a man, myself, to be able to turn off masculinity, I'm not truly masculine if I can do that. And guess what? I can't. I can't do it. I'm not even sure I could do it even if I tried. Even if I put my best effort into it, I don't think that I could turn it off. This is how I know. So for any woman who, is in this situation where they're telling men, once again, I'm gonna address this one first and we're gonna get on the next one, okay? But any woman who is showing up saying that I'm feminine for the right man, she's not truly feminine. Because guess what? Let's go back to my analogy. I haven't been able to turn it off. My masculinity, I can't do it. She shouldn't be able to either if she was truly feminine. That's the truth of the matter. I mean, really look at it. Really think about this. Remember, I'm here to teach you things that are based upon the fundamental understandings of existence, all right? Metaphysical, philosophical, everything. All right? Think about it. If you're a masculine man, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Why wouldn't this apply to women either? I know a woman, and I've known her for over 20 years. And every time that I've talked to her, she's probably one of the most feminine women I've ever experienced in my life. Okay. And I'm not saying that lightly, because no matter what the circumstances were, and me seeing her interact, no matter what happened, no matter what someone did, no matter, this lady, she doesn't even curse. Okay. She don't even curse. And I'm not saying that that's a representative of being feminine, but I'm just saying that her consistency in who she is has not changed, and how she presents herself. She has harnessed her femininity to its full extent, and it'll grow. I'm talking about as far as her maturity level. For as long as she's been around and the things that she's experienced, she harnessed her femininity at a very young age, and she's been that person since I've known her. She can't turn it off. No matter if she has to get a job, which she's had to, no matter if she's, been in horrible relationships, which she has been, no matter what the circumstances were, she couldn't turn it off. So it's never a question if any man that meets her, is she going to be feminine? Yeah, I would bet money on it, 10 grand right now, that no matter what man that she runs across, she will always remain feminine. No matter what circumstance that she runs across, she will always remain feminine. Why? Because she don't know anything else. This is all she's done. Was she necessarily raised that way? I don't think so. I think that it just occurs in people who get it. You have to have this in you. It's not cultivated. It's something that's already there. I mean, let me rephrase that. It's not created. It can be cultivated, but it's not created. It's something that's already there. And for the women who have the immature femininity, it is not true femininity, because immature means that you sway between left and right, which is the masculine and feminine. You are immature feminine, period. If there is any point in time, especially in your recent history, that you've shown up and you've been a little bit more masculine than what you should have been, or probably needed to be ever, even if you didn't have to be that, even if you had to be that, and you showed up masculine, you were never feminine in the first place. You don't harness it because you can't turn it off. You can't. You cannot turn it off. There's not been a day, once again, that I can remember as far as back as I've been masculine, that I could turn it off. I can't. I've tried. I've tried. Back when I was younger, and people would ask, why would you try to turn off your masculine? Because some situations were more advantageous if I did. I'm not even going to lie to you. And that isn't me saying like, I was turning queer or something like that. No. This is me saying that, dealing with women, if you're a little bit more softer and you don't come off rugged, you'll get a little bit closer to them. If you simp a little bit, right, you'll get a little bit closer to them. And simping is feminine let me stop. Simping is not feminine per se, but simping is definitely not masculine. It's that hinging door that swings back and forth. So when I was younger, yeah, definitely. I've tried to do it a few times and I just couldn't really do it. I wasn't good at it. If you practice that swinging door, you become good at that swinging door, and you won't master anything. You'll be a jack of femininity and a jack of masculinity, both men and women. You have to be intentional. You have to let go, because that's exactly what happened to me. I said, I am just what I am. I'm not going to try to force myself to be something that I'm not, just to get ahead just a little bit with a woman or whatever situation it is that calls for me to not be completely masculine. I'm not going to do that. I'm fighting. I'm going against the grain. I'm fighting against the tide. I'm not going to do that. So, excuse me, any woman that shows up in any masculine form, and then she later claims that she's feminine for the right man, she's lying. I'm going to just put it out there. She's lying. And I don't think that she'll ever reach the pinnacles of femininity in her lifetime. It's a done deal. Like I said, I've known this woman for over 20 years. And I've never caught her once. I've looked, believe me. I've searched, believe me. I've searched her up and down. And I've never seen it. Never in my life. Was I there for every situation? No. Did I witness every conversation she had? No. But I've never caught her, and I'm pretty good at investigating people. I've never caught her. So the next time you hear a person say, well, if X, Y, and Z are not met, she cannot be feminine, just know that that's just the pass for being masculine when she chooses to be, advantageously, and also advantageously when she chooses to be feminine. But anyways, like, comment, and share. Check me out on Facebook. Check me out on Patreon. This week I do have a little bit more busier week than I normally do. I'm still going to periodically drop videos, as they come to me. Literally, I had not even thought of this conversation that I just had with you. I didn't. I honestly, I'll probably go back and listen to it myself again because I haven't thought about this at all. Normally, I do sometimes, but most of my topics, they just come to me, and sometimes I think them through, but this one I didn't at all. So you're literally catching me fresh off the hip, like literally 5 minutes ago. Oh, well, before I made this video, 5 minutes ago. And then I hit the record button. I had no time to think about this, but it all makes sense, right? But this has been the Wolf and Bear to Close. May you have a good day. And of course, peace be with you.